President Trump has named a former Secret Service agent and conservative podcaster as the new deputy director of the FBI. Dan Bongino will serve as the FBI's second in command to the agency's director, Kash Patel. The 50-year-old is a former New York City police officer and previously had a show on Fox News. He unsuccessfully ran for Congress 3 times, twice in Maryland and once in Florida. Bongino's appointment, which does not require Senate confirmation, means there are now 2 people leading the agency who have no FBI experience. And FBI Director Kash Patel was sworn in Monday as the acting head of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. In addition to the FBI, Patel will now oversee more than 5,500 ATF employees who are responsible for enforcing U.S. firearms laws and regulations. It's the first time an FBI director has also been in charge of the ATF. For more, let's bring in CBS News Department of Justice correspondent Scott MacFarlane. Scott, what more can you tell us about Bongino and what exactly a deputy FBI director oversees?
Oh, the deputy FBI director can touch anything he or she wants to, get involved with approving the launching of cases, big cases, politically sensitive cases, can be involved with the transfer of employees, demotions, promotions, some of the budget work. This really is the blocking and tackling of the Bureau, and it's a massive agency with nearly 6 field offices, a huge headquarters here in Washington. He can get his fingerprints all over this agency, and that's one of the reasons I think the FBI Agents Association, which represents current FBI agents, was pressing the new Bureau Director, Kash Patel, to install somebody who has FBI experience into this position, a special agent, somebody with years of experience navigating that bureaucracy. Dan Bongino, like Kash Patel, has no FBI experience, which critics will rail against, but which Patel and Bongino say is evidence that they are change agents.
As we discussed with you last week, FBI Director Kash Patel ordered the reassignment of more than 1,000 Bureau employees and agents in Washington. And some Justice Department employees say they received that email from the Office of Personnel Management asking them to document their weekly work. How are people inside the DOJ responding to these changes?
Well, this is certainly a sign of some instability inside the department. Again, the Trump administration promised changes at the Department of Justice, that they thought the agency was too weaponized in the previous administration, and they're going to overhaul it for this administration. And this is all symptomatic of that. But when you have this plan to relocate and reassign more than 1,000 agents and employees here in Washington to field offices or outposts outside the country, you run the risk of losing some of them, those who don't want to move. When you have provocative figures like Dan Bongino coming in as the real chief operating officer of the FBI, you risk losing some of the employees who don't want to be part of that. And then you have that ticking time bomb that's out there. The list that was compiled under Department of Justice orders of 5,000 plus agents and employees who are part of the January 6th investigation, some of whom think they're going to be retaliated against for being part of the January 6th investigation, that can lose you some people as well. So you see it, Lindsay. There's this risk of a gutting of some of the offices that are there to chase terrorists, child predators, and violent gangs.
Justice Department officials tell CBS News that Director Patel is also expected to be named the acting head of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, or ATF. Has this been done before? What is the significance of this, and what changes could we see under Patel?
Wow, is that a big side hustle to also run the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, which also has a nationwide footprint, field offices all across the country, hundreds if not thousands of employees to monitor, and all these responsibilities, investigating gun crimes and overseeing gun regulations. To do both of these is a first, but I think the ATF, as it's called, has already been under the microscope and seems primed for some cutbacks. Republicans in Congress have tried to starve some of the budget of the ATF to reduce it, arguing that agency encroaches on Second Amendment rights. You see a Kash Patel come in there and could further amplify the cutbacks, the shrinking of this agency, which opponents say is a Second Amendment violating agency, which its supporters say is there to stop gun violence and gun crimes across the country. You can see this fight playing out almost immediately in Washington and nationwide.
Scott MacFarlane, thank you.